Ali, thank you so much for joining us on Founders and Builders live at Slush.
Joe, one of the highlights of this has been to meet you.
Oh, what a pleasure. So, you're here with Quadrivia, a fantastic AI company for clinicians. For those that haven't heard of Quadrivia, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Every clinician does about 20-30% of what they do, which is clinical, not administrative, but highly routine, repetitive. And they don't like it. And AI loves routine, repetitive work. So we create AI agents that can, in real time, in a regulated way, deliver clinical services to patients. So think about surgery. I was just talking to a surgeon. They love the surgery, really don't like all the pre-surgery discussions that takes them away from the surgery with the patients. Post-surgery follow-ups, often they don't get to even make a phone call every day to ask how their patients are. Those are the things that AI can do, and we deliver.
And you sit at the layer of the stack that is like very persona specific, right? You're not going after the whole medical field, you're going after clinicians. Where does the problem start that you help them solve? Like, where did you think about beginning with Quadrivia?
Look, the fundamental reason why healthcare is inaccessible and unaffordable to most people in the world is because there is a structural imbalance between elastic demand in healthcare. My son gets ill, I spend any time, any effort, any money to fix it, and a very constrained supply of clinical skills in the hands of very small number of clinicians. AI now gives us the promise to create abundance of that skill. I believe that AI someday can make the clinical skills available to everyone, everywhere on earth from their mobile phone. Super simple, super easy. But that day is not today. So we need to build towards that day.
One of the things that impressed me when I looked at your website in Quadrivia is you really work from the clinician backwards, right? Like the first reason that a hospital might not permit an AI solution is because what if these models hallucinate? What if we take the wrong notes? Should we share our patients' data? So talk to us about how you're solving for not just the software and AI challenges, but really working back from what the customer cares about.
Even think about the problem that we need to solve even before all of the other problems, right? An AI is calling you and is talking to you on the phone. If the latency is more than 1.5 seconds, that's 1,500 milliseconds, you start thinking, what is happening here? Who's talking? Is this real or not? Think about what needs to happen in that 1,500 milliseconds, 1.5 seconds. The patient has said something. I need to translate it from voice to text. I need to then check that text to make sure there is no identifiable patient data, nothing to do with data security. Then send that into text. Then send that text into the LLM, get my answer, get that answer back. Then check every aspect of that answer against red guards, red flags, safeguardings, everything else. So we got 50, 60 agents listening to that conversation, correcting it. If there is a correction, it needs to go back. It needs to come back again. And then it be turned into voice and sent to the patient. Just think about technologically, what does that mean? So I was talking to somebody who does the scribing, a great company, and they were saying, oh yeah, we're going to go do this. And I'm just saying, but it's a fundamentally different business. When you scribe, you get it wrong, a doctor fixes it, and it goes in. We are talking in the realm of autonomous, real-time delivery of service to a patient in a regulated environment. And those doctors, those institutions are absolutely right to demand accuracy, to demand high security, to demand everything else they demand. So you shouldn't look at their demands as a nuisance. You should look at it as a necessity to get the right to play.
Quadrivia isn't where your entrepreneurial journey started. In fact, many people I've met in the past have used your last company, Babylon, worked there, loved the company. So it's great to finally meet you in person. We were talking about Leo, who's part of Vism Labs and used to be in your data team that we did an episode with. What inspired you in the early days to invest so much of your time and energy into healthcare and creating this abundance of supply?
So even before Babylon, I created Circle, which is today the largest hospital group in United Kingdom, and part of the Pure Health, which is one of the largest hospital organizations in the world now. So the passion for doing something meaningful and making healthcare accessible and affordable for everyone on earth is super meaningful. And initially it was, if we get the hospitals right, and then I understood actually vast majority of our healthcare interactions has nothing to do with hospitals. Then we thought, okay, what if we put most of the healthcare most people need on the devices most of them already carry, on their mobile phone? You talk to a doctor. Then we understood the doctor behind the mobile phone costs as much as a doctor and as rare as a doctor in presence. So then we thought, okay, we need to create software automation. AI is fundamentally an automation that can do part of the job of that doctor or a nurse, right? And that's what led to adding AI to Babylon. And when we sadly lost Babylon, it was never a question that the work should continue. So we immediately reset up to follow the work.
Your talk in Slush is all around surfacing the lessons from companies that have shaped Europe but no longer exist. And so you're on stage with the founder of Northvolt. You obviously have significant experience taking a company public with Babylon. Where do you think we're at in terms of Europe being able to be honest and open about the learnings from companies? We see all of the darlings, lovable on stage now. But what I love about your attitude and the way you carry yourself is that you're very open about what happened with Babylon.
In life, you win, you lose all the time. An average billionaire has had 7 failures of their previous businesses. I can walk you, and I walked here. But I am sure, I can't remember, but I'm sure my mother will tell me, like every other baby, I fell many, many times until I learned to walk, right? Edison failed 1,000 times, 10,000 times in building the light bulb until it got there. I don't look at these events as failures. We obsess in our lives about failures. I look at them as a part in a journey. Building a business in life, building businesses is not a determined game that somebody blows the whistle and says, that's it, the game is finished. It's an indeterminate game, indefinite game. It goes forever. You just need to keep going. I honestly believe, Joe, you are never defined or remembered by how many times you fall. You're defined and remembered by how many times you get up. So you just have to get up and keep going.
Mm-hmm. Where does that come from for you?
I was lucky enough, at the time I told you it was awful, but I was lucky enough that when I was 16, I had to become a refugee. I had to leave my country, my family, and all these people who think people who become a refugee do so by choice is the worst thing you can ever do, the last decision you will ever make. But I had to do it. And at 16, I just had to find the power to get out and start a life on my own in a country I knew nothing about. And I just think that when you've been that low, you kind of figure out life will always continue. You just keep going, and hopefully we're still keeping going. But the thing that gives me the passion and the desire to do this is the mission. It's honestly, I honestly believe you can make healthcare accessible and affordable to everyone on earth. I think you can make it abundant, available to everyone. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you sit and lick your wounds when you can get out and do something bigger than you?
And the product, people talk about product market fit, is so clearly there from the patient side. I mean, I can tell you, when I go home and spend time, with my mom, when we get a chance to spend time together, she tells me about all of the things she's been asking ChatGPT and Claude about, how she's feeling lately. And, she has found immense pleasure, just her personally, almost using it as like an AI therapist.
Yes.
How is AI showing up in your life, Ali? You're building a company around AI agents at the minute. How do you use AI today?
I use it, like everybody else, for as many things as I can. And I also can see, like everybody else, its shortcomings. I think that the AI we have today versus the AI we are going to have in a few years' time will bear no resemblance. But it's a phenomenal start, right? And I think we need to learn to live with it. And we need to learn to live with it and get better with it. Look, I'm as worried as anybody else about the unforeseen consequences of something that we are unleashing. We have no idea about its effect on jobs, on people's sense of identity, sense of importance. So there is so much to discover, and we shouldn't be bright-eyed and stupid about it. But we should also welcome it as another tool that we should hopefully control.
And embrace it.
And embrace it. But embrace it with open eyes. Embrace it understanding that what the challenges are, and be very purposeful in managing those difficulties. As you said, I can't build AI and unleash it on the world in medicine irresponsibly that is unsafe, insecure, like plays with people's data, shares it, all that kind of stuff. That burden is on everyone. Everyone else who's building data, they should have that burden on them, and then the government should enforce that regulation to make sure we stay safe.
Mm-hmm. Final question from me, and thank you so much for the time already. This has been so fun. If you could meet yourself, a copy of yourself from 20 years ago, before you'd gone through everything with Babylon, before you started Quadrivia, what would you be talking about?
Look, I've been, Joe, unbelievably lucky to have lived a life that I wouldn't change a moment of it. Look, when Babylon was going down and we were fighting like crazy to keep it alive for 18 months, while most people would have given up, it was the most darkest, hardest time of my life, right? But still, who I am today is what I learned during those 18 months. So would I want to cut a piece of myself and not be that person? Absolutely not. I don't think there is such a thing as high unless you've experienced low. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what high is because you haven't experienced low. I'm one of those lucky people that I wouldn't want to live my life any other way. I think I would have told my 20 years ago saying that life is going to be a phenomenal ride. Go and live it.
Ali, what a pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, my friend.
This was so much fun.
So good to see you.